for WWE, I mean, this is fantastic. For the fan, I don't know so much.
Russo'sBrand.com, where the pros are the pros.
WWE has another $1 billion deal. This one, $1.6 billion with ESPN. I'm reading this off of Variety. Under a new 5-year deal, ESPN's soon-to-launch streaming outlet, starting in 2026, will become the exclusive U.S. home of all of WWE's top live events, including WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and Survivor Series. Chairman of ESPN, Jimmy Pitaro, said in an interview that WWE events are an extremely popular form of entertainment and have stood the test of time. ESPN always wants to expand its audience, and WWE is going to help us get younger. It's going to help us get more diverse. It's going to help us bring in more females. This service is going to be launching at $30 a month. Now, there's been some confusion because there's been people saying, well, if you get cable and you get ESPN, you'll already get this. But in the ESPN press release about the service, it says that it will be available to all fans who watch on the ESPN app on mobile and connected TV devices, whether they subscribe directly or through a traditional pay TV package. So I'm still kind of saying, well, they still need to subscribe to this, even if they have regular cable. I don't know. I'm not sure if this comes with cable or not. It's kind of wishy-washy.
It definitely doesn't come with cable, because if you subscribe to, like, just say the Disney package, for instance, ESPN is a part of that tier. So you get,
and you have
like,
to pay extra.
Yeah, you get cable. Disney, Hulu, ESPN. This isn't on ESPN cable television. You've got to
imagine that it would, because there's no way that they'd be able to monetize it properly.
Absolutely not.
That kind of an investment back.
Yeah.
You know, and it's amazing in the last how many years how WWE has just become an absolute juggernaut with these billion-dollar entertainment deals. Just insane. But for WWE, I mean, this is fantastic. For the fan, I don't know so much. And in long term for WWE, I don't know if it's necessarily a positive. Granted, you know, the money, right? Obviously, and the perception, which is driving this price increase for WWE content. You got to make it while it's there. But then in the long term, are they doing themselves a disservice? Because now, in order to get to be able to watch the WWE product, you got to pay for Netflix, whatever. And I think they're about to have a rate increase. If you're wanting to watch NXT, then you're going to have to at least have cable, or, you know, because not all people are able to pick up the broadcast channels of CW. If you're wanting SmackDown, if you have to get cable, or you've got to get the USA Network app. And now, you know, and in Peacock, you've got the library. And now if you want the live events, the premium live events, the pay-per-views that they used to be called, well, now you've got to pay, you know, for ESPN. So who's going to be able to afford all of that on a monthly basis? I mean, that's a significant amount of money that you're investing to be able to see all of the WWE products that have become so diversified.
Well, it's not only that too, Al, on top of what you just said, and I agree wholeheartedly, bro, they're training the audience now that you don't have to watch Raw for 2.5 hours. You don't have to watch SmackDown. We're going to give you literally 10 minutes of highlights. The rest of the show is just filler and fodder. And as soon as the show is over, you just can go to YouTube and watch the highlights of the show. They've already started training their fan base that way.
We've had this conversation.
I know we have, but that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing, Al.
Zero.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree.
Then how are you going to maintain an audience and maintain proper numbers to be able to maintain the perception that your value is such that you can get these billion-dollar deals?
Well, because I'll tell you why. Nick Khan said, I was just reading this morning, because Al, currently they're paying for the PLEs $9.95 on Peacock.
Right.
Nick Khan believes literally everybody's going to go from $9.99 to $29.99, no questions asked. He said, I was reading a Nick Khan interview, and he says, I don't think there's going to be any problem whatsoever from people switching over from Peacock to ESPN. Like literally the $20 will mean absolutely nothing to them. That's what he said.
Good for him. That, there's a guy that's lost touch with what the average person's going to have to go through. Yeah. The average person doesn't make Nick Khan money. And for Nick Khan, $29.99, same as $9.99. I could care less because he's making Nick Khan money.
Right.
But, and this is nothing against it. Good for him. Congratulations, awesome. But the average person doesn't make Nick Khan money. And the average person, too, doesn't want to watch highlights. The average person wants to watch a show. They want to be able to depart the real world. And they want to be able to believe, and they want to be able to forget. They want to separate themselves from reality. That's why we all watch entertainment, is to live vicariously through whatever is going on the screen. And the idea that we're intentionally going to try to program our audience to believe, hey, you don't need to watch 2.5 hours. It's all just fodder. It's filler. You just go watch the highlights. I can't fathom, I'm not going to say they're not, but I can't fathom the common sense in doing that of, I don't want to put out a quality show that's really going to drive people to be an audience and that I could really have a base that I could now continue to make these billion-dollar deals. I'm really just building the show so I can have highlights. That's insane. Because there's no way to maintain it. Even the highlights, let's face it, what drive the highlights? Your interest in the story. If there's no story, there's no body of work, then there are no highlights.
But
the only reason you have highlights is because you have a base that you work off of.
Al, this is how, if you really look at and study the WWE product, this is how Triple H books across the board. And you're going to yell at me for this word, but I'm just going to say it to simplify it. Right. This is how Triple H works across the board.
All right.
Pop, 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 pop. Let's take SummerSlam. Pop 1 the first night, Seth Rollins cashes in the case. Right. Pop 2 the second night, Brock Lesnar shows up at the end of the show. Now, everything is the pop, the pop, the pop. Now what they do is they take that pop and they put that pop on social media. What did they do Monday night on Raw? Right there on the screen. 75 million people saw Brock Lesnar's return on social media. That's what they're doing. That is the formula, Al. Big pops, transfer that over to social media, and we're going to get 75 million hits.
The idea, I would believe, of, we're going to go, the big reaction, not a pop, a big reaction with Seth Rollins winning. That is a hook. That's not a highlight. That's a hook. You use it to draw, and you point out that 75 million people saw it on social media, hoping to bring that 75 million people to the product and then maintain that 75 million people going forward.
But you're forgetting one thing. That's how Al books. That's the way to book. That's the way to do it. We're forgetting one thing in this whole equation. The check is already cashed out. They got the check from ESPN. They got the check from Netflix. The check, they're already being paid for this.
But my point is this. If they're consciously trying to use this strategy that you are seeing they're doing, then that is the most short-sighted and dumbest approach I could ever imagine. You can't use that and maintain it. And it's been exhibited and proven, not just in wrestling, but across the board in all kinds of forms of entertainment, that if you're only always going for just the momentary reaction and nothing more without any substance, then there's no foundation and the rest crumbles. It falls apart. And I don't think it's, I agree with you that I think that there are a lot of people that are behind the scenes that are now programmed to just kind of plan or book towards those momentary reactions. But the real culprits in this are the majority of the talent. The talent no longer work a match or even have the mindset of an angle where they're working toward that long-term pop, the culmination, the expression of emotion anymore. They're all taking that indie mindset of work for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what can we do to get the biggest momentary reaction for tonight, and not think a month ago from now, 2 months from now, 6 months. It's not a sustainable business model. That's why you don't see any real major independent promotions being able to sustain any kind of real growth, because everyone's all just for that one single night, not for that single night that's going to play into the next night, the next night, and the next night going forward. I can't imagine that the people that are within the company are all just like, oh, we're going to drink the Kool-Aid and go along with this. And no one's speaking up and going, hey guys, do you think maybe we shouldn't do this? Maybe we should be working for that longer term type of thing, and not just, oh, well, we'll put this together so that we can have highlights on social media and not really have a substantial show. Because at some point, much like Fox, Netflix is going to go, hey, wait a minute. We're not getting the numbers. So I think we're going to pull the plug on this deal. And if enough people, I mean, they've already got Fox, that's already in, let's face it, it's out there already that Fox was dissatisfied with the numbers that WWE drew based on the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's already out there. Well, now if you get another one and then you get a third one, well, now these billion-dollar deals, they're not going to happen anymore, because now that perceived value isn't going to be there. And let's face it, that's the only reason they're getting these billion-dollar deals, is because there's the perception that they can bring you billion-dollar deal numbers. If they can't, based on the ideology that you're claiming they do, that's dumb.
Well, see, Al, here's what's going on too, because it's definitely a different business model. And when you look at Netflix and now you look at ESPN, we're looking at subscriptions. That's really what they care about, subscription. But let me just say this:
get people to subscribe if you.
Yeah, no, because here's what's happening, Al. I don't think this is what they're banking on. So now they, like you said, now they got to pay for Netflix. Now they've got to pay for ESPN on top of that.
Right.
Now, as soon as the shows are over, the highlights are on YouTube.
Right.
People are going to start smartening up to that and saying, wait a minute, we don't have to pay subscriptions anymore if we can just go to social media and see that. I think more and more of that is going to happen over time, and they're banking on the subscriptions. That's what they're banking on.
Correct. But you can't have subscriptions if what you're saying is their business model is to drive the views just to social media. Social media is used, again, like I expressed once before.
Right.
It's like the trailer for a movie.
Absolutely.
You
right.
go to the trailer. Oh, I don't need to see the movie now. I've saw the highlights,
Yep.
That's ridiculous. And I don't know of anybody that would consciously want to operate a business like that. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that they go, yeah, well, we did 75 million views on social media. We don't need, but without using those as a way to attract an audience to your actual show, to Netflix, well, Netflix isn't going to get those numbers. And if Netflix doesn't get those numbers, hey, congratulations, you got 75 million on social media, but your numbers on Netflix aren't where the Netflix executives are going to go, thank God we spent $1 billion on WWE, because we're not getting $1 billion worth of numbers. I think we're going to reconsider.